Hey guys, welcome back. This salted caramel couldn't be any easier and it only needs 5 ingredients. This recipe is smooth and fudgy, and the best part is it only takes 20 minutes to make. So let's get cooking. Now this is a very simple recipe. It's only got 4 ingredients to it. It is basically condensed milk, is butter, is sugar, and I'm using dark chocolate. And also a small quantity of salt to give it a nice savory feel. Now, if you don't like dark chocolate, you can always use milk chocolate, or you can also use white chocolate. That works well. The first thing to do is to take condensed milk and put it into a pan. Condensed milk is quite intense. It's got a very nice, rich, kind of a milky flavor and quite sweet. Now, fudges are generally very sweet, so you only have a tiny quantity of fudge when you eat it, but it gives a very nice kind of a gooey, kind of fudgy flavor. In that goes in butter, melted butter. Make sure you use unsalted butter because we will be adding salt afterwards. Brown sugar. Now I'm using brown sugar because I want it to be slightly darker in color along with the chocolate, but you can use white sugar if you want. Now this is the base for your fudge. If you want to add any other flavor, you want to add fennel seeds, or you want to add cinnamon, cloves, green cardamom, you want to add a tea flavor, you can add a tea infusion into that. You want to add a herb, you can add a thing like a rosemary, it will go extremely well. You can add roasted cumin, it gives a very nice flavor to the fudge. So try and incorporate your own flavor into the dish. Now all you do at this stage is just stir the mixture together and you begin to warm it now. So it doesn't need to be, the milk doesn't need to be heated first. You all put it all together and then you bring it to a boil and make sure that the sugar melts and mixes quite well. The butter has a high fat content, so when the fudge will actually cool down, it solidifies. Has a very nice, rich, fatty or a buttery flavor to it. So we're going to get this to a nice, gentle boil. The mixture has now come to a boil. The sugar has melted off and got mixed with the butter and with the condensed milk. At this stage, I want to lower the heat down. What you must always keep in mind is that you have to keep on stirring it all the time. Otherwise, the milk or the solids, the fats, will stick to the bottom and it will burn. So just make sure that you keep on stirring it and also scrape the sides. You see that? All the lovely flavors are all settled up on the sides. And with the spatula, you mix it back together into your fudge mixture. This is now almost done. I've switched off the fire. I would let that bubble slightly settle down. At this stage, add salt. Now I just love to have salt with sweet to get a nice salty flavor, and especially when you're doing like a caramel kind of a flavor, which you have now. You have the nice caramel flavor because the condensed milk has cooked and the sugar got caramelized, and that's also why I use a brown sugar. So it gives a very nice caramel flavor to it. So salt works extremely well with the salted caramel. For example, if you want to use oranges, you can have orange peels or confit of oranges or candy. You can add that into that. It gives a very nice flavor to the fudge. Okay, the mixture is nice and hot, and all I do now is I add in my dark chocolate and just make sure that I stir the chocolate into the mixture. And as soon as the chocolate hits the hot condensed milk caramel, it begins to melt. Now again, chocolate has a nice high quantity of fat that melts up and mixes quite well with the condensed milk mixture with the fudge, and also gives a very nice thick, rich, dark brown color. If you want a really intense dark color of chocolate, you can always add cocoa powder to it. It makes it richer and much darker in color. The mixture is nice and glossy It is really set quite well in terms of the chocolate melted off and mixed quite well with the fudge mixture. I have a little bread tin here which I've lined with a greaseproof paper. This helps the fudge to come out when it is cold, otherwise it will tend to stick on the sides. And all I do now is just pour this mixture into the tin. And lastly, a generous sprinkling of flakes of sea salt. So when you eat the fudge, you can actually get a bite of the sea salt. Tap it just to level the fudge. Now this is going to go in the fridge for a good couple of hours for the fudge to set. The salted dark chocolate caramel is done. This is nice and firm. As you can see, it's become really hard. I'm going to take it off from the tin. Because I used butter paper to line it, it just lifts out very easily. Now all you do is basically unwrap the greaseproof paper or the butter paper. And what you get is a rich dark chocolate fudge, salted caramel dark chocolate fudge. I've lightly warmed up my knife. When you warm up the knife, your chocolate fudge gets cut a little easily. It's quite firm at the moment. So I'm going to literally take off the edge. The edge is slightly uneven, so I'm going to take that off. And then you get a nice clean cut. I'm going to do a almost 1.5 centimeter slice and then cut off the edges to make it like a rectangle. Now these all are the best parts, you know, the perks of the job. I suppose you get to eat them as you cook. And normally in restaurants what we do is we make different flavor of fudges and we give a very small square. They are quite intense, they are quite rich, they are quite heavy. Don't give it a large quantity. Even you cut it into a small square like this and serve it along with your tea, coffee at the end. It's actually very nice just on its own. But I'm going to show you a little trick of how you can make that little rectangle a little more interesting. In our restaurants what we do is before we serve our desserts, we give a complimentary miniature dessert for them to whet their appetite, and they're called as pre-desserts or small desserts before your main dessert comes. So I'm going to take this small piece of dark chocolate caramel fudge and I'm going to plate it for you. It's a very simple technique, but something which you should try at home. On the plate I'm going to put a small quantity of caramel. It's basically same thing like you do for the fudge. You reduce the milk down and you add sugar and make it into a nice caramel. Or you can get like a spread, a Nutella, or you can get a peanut butter or any flavored butter you can use to spread on the plate. It's a very simple trick. So on the plate I just spoon a little quantity of my caramel sauce, and with the bottom of the spoon I'm going to just pull it across the plate. So that goes down. On top of that I'm going to add my salted caramel fudge. Now the textures for the fudge are quite gooey in a way. You know, it is quite thick, it's rich, but it is still very soft. When you eat into your fudge, it begins to melt down. So it is very soft textured as such. To contrast that, I'm going to add something which gives it a nice crispness and breaks down the softness of the fudge. And all I have here is crumbs from biscuit. So you can take any biscuits you have, shortbread biscuits, digestive biscuits, malt biscuits, perfectly okay. And take a spoonful of crumbs, put them on the side. Now what these crumbs do is actually give a very nice texture to the fudge. They contrast with the softness and actually give a nice bite when you eat. And to garnish it, I am going to use some flowers to decorate my plate. Just spread them onto the plate. It just brings it to life. You've got the wonderful little leaves here. You want to spread the leaves. Try and make it look as attractive as possible. Because when your friends or families, when they come to your restaurant or you come to your homes and they come and eat, and you take that little extra effort to make the food look nice, it really gets appreciated well. People like to see good food, well presented. There you have it. Very simple. Salted caramel dark chocolate fudge. If you want to use milk chocolate, you want to use white chocolate, or you want to skip the chocolate, it's perfectly your choice. You can either have it into small cubes after your meal with your tea or coffee, or like me, you want to impress your family and friends or your guest over, you plate it like this and serve them as a small dessert. This one has got a caramel sauce, some flowers, and some biscuit crumbs. So make sure you try it at home, make it for your friends and family, and do not forget to tag me. So until next time, happy cooking.